Hey, guess what? Your government's been lying to you at the top of their lungs, along with the corporate media. We always knew this was a lie. CIA director says there will be consequences if Russia is behind Havana Syndrome attacks. Now, this was happening in Cuba, right? Mm-hmm. And they were saying that Russia was using like some kind of sonic thing to make people sick. U.S. diplomats and people like that. The director of the CIA has warned Russian intelligence agencies that there will be consequences if they are behind the recent Havana Syndrome attacks that have plagued U.S. officials and embassies across the world.
Attacks?
So this is made up. This is made up. And we knew it was made up at the time. I'm pretty sure. I hope I didn't fall for it. Maybe I did. Maybe I did fall for this. William Burns issued the confidential warning to Russia's Federal Security Service and the country's Foreign Intelligence Service during a November meeting in Moscow, and Russian troops organizing Moscow about Russian troops organizing near Ukraine, according to U.S. officials speaking to the Washington Post. Let me read that again because I don't even know what I just read. William Burns issued the confidential warning to Russia's Federal Security Service and the country's Foreign Intelligence Service during a November meeting in Moscow about Russian troops organizing near Ukraine, according... Oh, so that's... So William Burns is the guy, this guy. See, now, CIA director admits there is no Havana Syndrome. Wow, you guys were talking tough. And now there isn't one. The director of the Central Intelligence Agency, William J. Burns, was seen backing down from 6-year-old debunked claims of Havana Syndrome in an interview with NBC's Andrea Mitchell at the Aspen Security Forum on Wednesday. When asked about the cause of the alleged illnesses, Burns tried to sidestep the question, and rather than give a direct answer, he spoke on the importance of providing medical care for U.S. personnel. Oh! So here it is. You want to hear it? So he gives this. I cut out the part where he dodges the question about how he was talking about how he cares about the CIA personnel and getting them the medical care that they need. And I just cut right to his hemming and hawing admission that the Havana Syndrome doesn't exist. So here we go.
I want to ask you about something that has been going on for 6 years since the first known case, and that is what the government calls anomalous health incidents, and which is commonly known as the Havana Syndrome. So 6 years later, do we know anything more about what caused these illnesses?
A few months ago, the intelligence community across the board made public some preliminary findings. The broadest was that we don't assess that a foreign player, whether the Russians or anyone else, is behind or is responsible for a sustained global campaign on the scale of what has been reported to harm U.S. personnel with a weapon or some kind of external device. We further stated publicly several months ago that in the majority of incidents, and we've investigated each one as thoroughly as we possibly can, and we're still working on a number of them, that you could find reasonable alternative explanations, whether it was other environmental factors or pre-existing medical conditions or other kind of medical explanations. None of that detracts from the real nature of what people have gone through. We still have work to do. Despite the progress I think we made in the investigation, this is not something that CIA only is doing. As I said, we work very closely with other partners. And, I owe it to my officers and their families to be straight about first making sure they get the care they deserve, but also being straight about what we find and what we don't find. And that's what we'll continue to do.
Really, what many of them deserve is Havana Syndrome, so it's too bad that there's not a Havana Syndrome.
Comprehensive research by prestigious scientists had already debunked claims of sonic attacks made by CIA officers stationed at the U.S. Embassy in Havana in 2016. U.S. personnel who reported the mystery health problems now stand to receive 6-figure payout from Congress. Despite the Havana Syndrome has become widely regarded as a hoax, they're still going to give those people money for having a thing that doesn't exist. U.S. to give some Havana Syndrome victims 6-figure compensation.
Is that better than they did for 9/11 people?
Can you believe
how about 9/11?
Yeah, remember Jon Stewart had to repeatedly go to Congress to get them to just give them health care.
And they told them they didn't have any 9/11. You didn't breathe anything in.
Yeah, it's all right.
It's a made up thing. You get wow.
But they're going to give it to the people who have a made up thing, the Havana Syndrome. I wonder if the CIA lost their Twitter account for all this misinformation. You think the CIA got taken down from Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or YouTube? No. They work at all those places. The CIA, they actively recruit the CIA to work at Facebook, CIA to work at Twitter, to recruit Facebook to work at Google, CIA to work at Google and YouTube. That's who works there.
Hey, Jimmy, just to be safe, I think all those CIA people should have to take a mandatory vaccine for Havana Syndrome. You know? Can't be too careful.
So there you go. Havana Syndrome, complete bullshit, completely made up. But they're still going to give the CIA members hundreds of thousands of dollars. Unbelievable. Come see our stand-up comedy. We'll be in Los Angeles, Bakersfield, Indianapolis, Louisville, Cincinnati, Tulsa, Oklahoma City, Detroit, lots more. Go to jimmydorecomedy.com for a link for all our tickets.